Do you want to experience the thrill of a Packers game at Lambeau Field? If so, be sure to get your game tickets from the longtime trusted source in Wisconsin, Ticket King. Visit their locations in Milwaukee and Green Bay, or just go to their website, theticketking.com. Again, that's theticketking.com.
And now, for fans of the 13-time NFL champion Green Bay Packers, this is Cheesehead TV Live.
Cheetahs don't stretch, and neither do we.
I think you're an idiot. And I mean that with the most respect possible that I can give to an idiot.
Packers Hall of Fame quarterback Jay Cutler.
It's not as fun to say as Equinemius.
That is a perfect example of a wrong opinion. Ring the bell. Welcome back, Packers fans. I have returned to the West Coast, the land of the Sonoran Desert, for my trek to beautiful Rockford, Illinois, to see my friend and co-host of Pulse of the Pack, Jacob Westendorf, get married, and to attend the Green Bay Packers Monday night game at Lambeau Field. I am Jason Perone of Cheesehead TV, along with Jeremy Vanderlinden of Cheesehead TV. Jeremy, I want to give you some props and credit for always being our engineer on the live chat, setting up the show, setting up all the equipment, because God knows if I did it, it would be upside down somehow. Like we'd literally be sitting on the ceiling. All right, Jeremy. Consistently inconsistent.
That's right.
All right. What do we got?
Consistently, the Packers, the Green Bay Packers, that's what we got. They are consistently inconsistent, and that's why that's the name of the show tonight. Because when...
Oh, already. Right out of the gate, baby.
No. See, here's the thing. I'm going to try to keep it real chill tonight. Real chill.
That's not what the people came here for, man. That's not what the people came here for.
Jason loves it when I get heated, but I'm going to try to keep it at least a lower level tonight. Just because I don't know. I don't need to be heated all the time. I'm trying to avoid a heart attack, Jason. All right. When are we going to see this Green Bay Packer team
Mercedes
play?
Lewis catch a pass?
When are we, well, that's a good question. But maybe never. I don't know. When are we going to see this Packer team play an entire game as an entire team? Because we have been watching for years now. One half of the team play football.
The Buffalo Bills.
What?
Everyone's going to point to the Bills game and say that's you can't
that's
say that.
That's a terrible example. That's a crap example. They scored 22 points against a shit team in the NFL. Woohoo! That is not consistency. That's garbage.
And we have gone off the rails. It is the 2-minute mark. You didn't even need to fast forward your browser. So the Packers, obviously, okay, they're heading into a bye. They get a big win at Lambeau Field. I say big because it came down to the wire. It was exciting. Mason Crosby redeems himself, puts a game winner through.
Thank God.
Packers win 33-30. Another fourth quarter comeback for Aaron Rodgers. Hope you're keeping tally over there, Flip Sclalis. And so a little something to be encouraged about, because honestly, and we said it on our show, if they lost, which was looking like it was going to happen, the season is effectively it's over not because of the standings. It's over because I just don't think the locker room is not that cohesive to me. And you can sit here and question me and say, how do you know that? You're not in there with those guys.
Right.
I just look at the way they play together on the field. You've got Jimmy Graham screwing up routes. Like he
finally had a good game though.
He did, but you're nearly a 10-year vet. You still don't know where to sit down in the zone. He probably could have had a couple more catches. Now, granted,
no, you're right.
And I'll say this: if it's Jimmy Graham 5 years ago, he probably houses that first catch.
Oh yeah.
But he couldn't get to the end zone. But Aaron Rodgers made some great throws, and he's kind of saving this team again. Mm-hmm. Young guys on defense stepped up and made some plays. It was the same story that we've seen all season long. You're right. They haven't put 4 quarters of quality football together. The first 2 quarters of that game were horrific. They couldn't figure anything out on defense. They got no pressure at all on C.J. Beathard. They made C.J. Beathard look really good. And again, it irritates me when the obvious thing, or the thing that should not be beating any team, is beating the Packers. And that's what's really frustrating to me. So here's my question back to you to kind of go along with what you said. Everyone talks about the identity of a team. By now, don't you think this team should have one? I don't think they do.
I think that's kind of an issue league-wide, but no, I don't think they do. But I think the thing that bothers me about it is that this is what we've seen from the Packers for a few years now. that they don't have an identity for a long time, and they barely have one when the season ends. And they go into the playoffs with us like the year they go into the playoffs and they make it all the way to the NFC Championship and get their asses kicked by the Falcons, right? Did you feel like there was an identity to that football team?
Well, there was up until that game, and everybody got mysteriously sick or hurt. And then they couldn't play in the NFC Championship game, but they were running the table, and they were a hot team. And it reminded us a little bit of 2010.
Right.
And I know everyone's sick of talking about it, but that's the reality. You get hot at the right time. We've seen teams do it. So, yeah, I would say that team did, but it took them that didn't start until the end of November. So if that's going to happen again this season, we're another 5 weeks away from this team finding themselves. They've got too much youth. I don't think that's going to work.
Right. All right. Well, let's say hi to some of these people in the chat. Thanks for joining us. Willow Fall. I would say your name, Mig Griffin, but I can't read it. So Rodney Pryor, FMCH 6444. That's a great name. That's great. Justin, thanks for joining us. Jesse, thanks guys for jumping in and joining us in the chat. We do have a question for the people in the chat, and if you don't have a YouTube account, you can't chat there, and you want to send us an answer, you can send it to us at CHTV Live. That is the show account. Or you can text the show phone number if you don't have Twitter, 920-395-9030, 920-395-9030.
And if the voicemail is good enough and it's juicy enough, we will play it on the air.
Well, yes. Yes, we will. Okay.
Oh, wait.
We can't immediately. I have to prep it, Jason.
No, I know you have to prep it. No, I get that. Not immediately, but I mean eventually.
Oh yeah, absolutely. If you call, especially if you're drunk, if you call the voicemail and
you're throwing out our capabilities, and I'm not even the one that does it. I'm like, we'll make that happen for you. Can you tell I'm in sales in my day job, and I just promise whatever? All right, so we already
hold on. I got my question here. I still gotta get this out there. This is for those in the chat. How are you feeling about the Green Bay Packers thus far in the season, going into the bye? And how can they fix their inconsistencies? It's something that I think every Packer fan is asking themselves. How can they fix the inconsistencies?
You have to say, how do you feel about the team first? That was the first question.
How do you feel about the team? How do you fix the inconsistencies? What can they do to fix it coming out of the bye? We already have one answer in the chat. It's just not good. From you forgot Poland says not good. Sign a pass rusher. That's how to fix it.
Fair.
That's fair.
It's fair.
If you could find a good one. The difficulty is finding one out there. Shane Ray was suggested in the chat. Fire capers. That is a great answer if it was last year.
Guys, I got to tell you, and girls, I have to tell you. So I was in the stands for this one. I was sitting up in the news section. It's really nice. The seats, having a seat at Lambeau Field is a new experience for me.
Was there a cup holder?
There is. There's a cup holder. It's just like any other stadium. It was incredible. So I'm sitting next to these guys. And this guy legitimately, I believe him. He was there for the Ice Bowl, and he's had season tickets since the 60s. And, I mean, and he was going to games there before Lambeau Field looked anything like it does now. And he was so frustrated after the first quarter, he and his buddy, they were like, bring back capers. Not fire capers.
No.
Bring back, where's capers?
No,
where's capers? Where's Dom Capers? And it just really, it reminded me that there's a passing of the torch, and there's many different generations of Packers fans, and the days of the old steady and like, I mean, honestly, if there was some humanly way, which it's not, that Vince Lombardi was still alive right now, they would probably want him back on the sidelines coaching, like roll him out there with his, oxygen tanks and everything.
Did you say there's probably not a chance of that? Did you say probably?
Well, I don't know what year Lombardi was born in. Was he born in
I see what you mean. I thought you were.
You know what I mean?
Like, no, you can't raise the dead, Jason. That's
no, I know, but I mean, like, that's a good point. So, if people out there, all right, let me qualify this because now I'm gonna have to, answer this on Twitter. I meant if he had not died when he did, would he still have a chance of being alive right now?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm sure some people out there want them to bring back Mike Holmgren. He's still alive. As old as Holmgren is.
I can't honestly promise you I'm not one of those people.
Oh, God, Jason. You can't be one of those people.
I am.
Oh,
all right.
No.
So anyway, no, I don't want Capers. I don't want Holmgren. I don't want Capers either. So it was a tough thing at times at the beginning of the game. I will answer. I don't feel great about the team. They had to get a win and they barely eked it out. How do they find consistency? I I think the coaching staff here has to help them. I think they've got to make it easy for them by running an offense that the players understand and can get behind.
Yeah.
You know, they ran the diamond formation, and it was great to see. Okay, awesome. And the Niners, like, handed them 7 points by only putting 2 defensive backs out there. So Ty Montgomery walked into the end zone, which was really sad because it should have been Aaron Jones' touchdown, but they pulled it off the board. And on defense, you've got young guys too. So I think Pettin's actually doing well in the defense. I think those guys are on board and they're getting it. On offense, Jeremy, I'm going to throw a theory out there right now. It happens, and remember we saw Aaron Rodgers take over for Favre. He was the young buck. Aaron Rodgers is turning into the old crusty guy. And I don't mean crusty in that he's bad or that he has a bad attitude, but you know after this many years in the league how good your team is. And his body language just says to me that he's just kind of doesn't want to get hurt. He wants to try to help this team win. Let's make some big plays. Yeah. But there's just the cohesion just does not seem to be there. And I think that's part of it, is that everyone's looking at him all the time to figure something out or to figure it out or to help out. And everyone's got to do their part. You know, I listened to David Bakhtiari. He talked to The Big Show, and I think he helped call a couple of the plays, like help Rodgers figure out what was working and whatnot. I mean, they're on the field. Why not? If Rodgers can call an audible at the line, why not have Bakhtiari step in there and make? And I trust him implicitly to do that. By the way, he had a fantastic pull block in this game. Like, he took out a DB on the other side of the field. Like, dude's got some wheels for a left tackle. Like, he's a very, I mean, we know he's a great left tackle, but I still think he's underrated. Yep. So that's the thing. Coming out of the bye, please don't come out like you did in 2015 in Denver and forget there was a game that day. Because it's the Rams, and it's going to be about.
Remember when it used to feel good coming out of a bye, thinking like, this is Mike McCarthy's
and they
bread
always
and butter.
win. Well, and Denver ended up winning the Super Bowl that year, and they were one of the best teams in the league. So we knew that was going to be a big test coming out of the bye. It's the exact same thing. The LA Rams are the NFC favorites right now, and you're on the road. So if you go to LA, you pull out a win, and I'm going to put you on the spot later. We're going to play a little game that you didn't know about. Oh, I love these little surprises.
All right. I better drink more of this beer to prepare.
You pull out a surprise win, though, in that game, anything is possible. I sound like Kevin Garnett in 2008 with the Celtics, but anything is possible. So that's my theory.
Okay. I'm going to save my opinion because there are some people giving some opinions in the chat. By the way, I just figured out something awesome. I can mute people in the chat and they'll never come back. So, California Cowboys fan said something about sexual pieces of the human body. So he's gone. An unknown person. I am so glad that you can't chat with us during this show because you are a waste of space. Okay.
No, screw you, California Cowboys fan. I heard that.
Yeah. So let's see. Rodney Pryor had an opinion here. He said, "I'm confused about the team. They can run the ball more. Short passing game would help." That's fair. Run the ball more. They are having success. Did you see the clip from the watch party? I can't watch the watch party because I'm doing we're doing the thing at the bar, so I don't get to watch Nagler on the watch party. But he had Ryan Grant on, and Ryan Grant said in his time in Washington, he was there for like a month, they practiced the running game more in one day than the Packers would do in an entire week. Mm-hmm. That's what the Green Bay Packers think of the running game. Mm-hmm. And that's sad because they have a stable of backs that can actually be game changers. And instead of practicing and preparing to use those guys, Mike McCarthy is focusing on the pass game, which has been inconsistent at best. Well, Aaron Rodgers is getting his ass kicked. Yeah. That whole game he was running for his life, it seemed. And you could use the running game to maybe slow some of that up. Fine, be aggressive. We're gonna run when you blitz from the outside or you got guys coming from the outside. We're gonna run right past them. You come on down. Let's go.
Run a draw.
But the Packers don't do that. I think that's a fair opinion. Henry J asked, "What happened to 5 wide receiver sets?"
That'll come back. I mean, that was Geronimo Allison and Randall Cobb being out. They'll be there. The rookies,
especially now.
Well, the rookies these last 2 weeks have done nothing but catch balls and get. Even Jamon Moore has Aaron Rodgers' trust. This passing game, the sky's the limit. I don't mean to sound corny, but it really is if they come back and everyone's healthy. Jeremy, to your point, though, to go back to the run game, even though they don't practice the run, okay, you have the biggest bailout in your running back depth chart. Even though you don't practice, his name is Aaron Jones.
Right.
And he doesn't get the ball enough. So even though you don't practice the run game, this guy is still capable of ripping off 6 yards a carry. Mm-hmm. I'll take 2nd and 4 any day.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I think I think we saw some of what McCarthy was talking about in this game because, the drop pass, he had a missed pass block that was really important, a key miss that I think proved McCarthy's point a little bit. He can't necessarily be dependent on all the time. And I think that, that sucks because he is so consistently good as a runner, but they have to be able to depend on him as more than a runner. And right now, I just don't know that the rest of that's there. And I've been on the bandwagon of, we need more Aaron Jones. We need more Aaron Jones. But some of the stuff we saw in this game made me feel like, okay, maybe Packer fans are overreacting a little bit to Aaron Jones not being on the field, and maybe Mike McCarthy knows a little bit about what he's talking about.
Jones missed a pass on the sideline. It was disappointing, but you don't have to take him out for an extended period of time. He's still a good runner. Last year, they ran Aaron Jones in pressure situations. They ran him 3 times to close out the Cowboys game on the last drive when Rodgers hit Adams in the end zone, almost in the same fashion that he did in this game. So use those weapons. And I think, listen, Mike McCarthy's coaching for his job. Okay, let's not fool ourselves. He's coaching for his job. So
True.
If you don't use Aaron Jones, okay, fine. You have other ideas. When they don't work and you're looking for a job or you're not in Green Bay anymore, you can look at the fact that you decided not to do the obvious thing that fans who are sitting on their couch thousands of miles away
could tell you could do.
I'm in the stands with Jacob, and he's like, if I see this, he was getting so frustrated when they weren't playing well, and he's like, if I can see this from up here in my nosebleed seats, like they've got to know what's going on the field. Mm-hmm. And they must know something we don't excuse is okay. But I think a lot of it is Aaron Rodgers bailing everybody out. And so the narrative now is the Packers offense is one page, and it's everybody do whatever the hell you need to, and Aaron, please save us and do something magical.
Yeah.
But that's frustrating. It's not obviously the case, but you're supposed to be an offensive coach. You're a quarterback, used to be a quarterback guru. You know, you get a lot of credit for Aaron Rodgers being what he is, and I think McCarthy had a huge hand in that.
Right.
Dude, Andy Reid is doing things in Kansas City with his offense. Now, I get it. He's got Tyreek Hill and who's the running back? Hunt. Kareem Hunt. I mean, he's got phenomenal skill players and Kelsey. And I get that. And Mahomes is an up-and-comer. And I mean, they've got a lot of really good pieces.
Right.
These rookie wide receivers, come on, man. Marquez Valdez-Scantling is legit. He's for real. Equanimeous St. Brown, fantastic catch. I mean, that's a tall dude. That was a really tough catch.
Yeah, dude, that catch was seriously a clutch play at a key moment that veterans need to make, and some of them miss. To have the ability to catch the ball, but also then contort his body to get out of bounds, to stop the clock. Fantastic play from Equanimeous, and I think the best thing that has come out of these last 2 games is seeing these 2 rookies play the way that they've played.
And did you see when he caught the ball, he just flicked it like pointed first down like he's been playing for 2 years in the league? I love that moxie. That's why I love these guys.
Yep.
All right, Henry says, put Rodgers in the shotgun, put out 5 wide receiver sets, Adams, Allison, Cobb, Graham, Scantling on St. Brown. St. Brown, I'll put my money on our wideouts against any secondary. He's right. I agree.
Yep.
I totally agree.
Yeah, totally. I think I would love to see them spread it out more. We want to see them run it more, yes. We also want to see them spread it a little bit more too. But, okay, I don't know if it's fair to say that they don't spread it. There are some things that they're doing. There's been a lot more creativity with Mike McCarthy's offense this year than the past 2 years. So that's been really great. It's not just spread it out. It's not just go deep. It's not just...
He waits to get creative until it's a pressure cooker situation, though. Like, come out and get an early lead.
Right.
If you're going to defer and put the defense on the field for the first series,
right,
get off the field first of all, which they've done a couple times this season. They did it last week.
Yeah.
Right? They got off the field on the right? Didn't they defer and they got off the field?
I think so.
Even though they lost. But if you're going to get in, you get creative early and build up that lead. You don't have Jordy Nelson. It's not 2011. You're not going to get up 14, 17, nothing easily every week.
Yeah.
Get creative early. Don't wait till it's dire straits. I mean, you can't possibly be holding everything in your back pocket. For what? You have to win games now.
So that's part of my, okay. I'll give my answer now just because you kind of got into it a little bit. I'm lost on this football team. That's how I feel about it thus far. That's where I'm at. I am lost. I don't know, man, because everything that I said in the pregame show, literally everything, was wrong. And not because I don't know football, not because I don't understand what's on this football team. It's the inconsistency of the Green Bay Packers. I don't know what the hell they're going to be week in and week out. I don't know. And I'm lost.
Yeah, that's fair. That's why I said the identity thing.
The identity is gone. It's not there. It's not been there for a while. They've not been a team that's gained an identity throughout the season the last few years, and that's really frustrating. So I'm lost. And my response to improve, I think the way that they need to improve is look at the things that happened in the key moments of the game when you needed it. Find out how to get that into your your game plan consistently and start using that crap. You start putting guys on the field like Equinemius when you need it. He gets open and makes that key play. Heck, Jamon Moore had a great play. And that's not to say like what you need to do to fix this is get the rookies on the field more. That's not it. Whatever you're doing in that time is working well enough to get the rookies open so that Jamon Moore can have a catch, so that Equinemius St. Brown is open enough to make a play at the end of a game. Whatever the hell you're doing when you need it, figure out how to get that shit going on early in the game. Stop waiting till the end of the game. That's how you fix it. Because we've seen this offense light it up. We've seen it. But it always happens for like a half or quarter. The defense, too.
Yeah, it's usually the fourth quarter.
Right. Whatever you're doing in the first half or second half defense, figure out how to get that shit going in the first half and stop waiting till the second half. I thought that's what was going to happen against the 49ers. I thought we were going to watch another game where the defense looked like crap in the first half, came out in the second half and shut them down. And somewhat that happened. I mean, obviously they let the offense get back into the game, but that was the worst showing this defense has had this year. And honestly, it felt as crappy as watching Dom Capers' defense last year.
Do we want to flip to that side of the ball? Or do we still have more offense stuff to go on? Because I've got plenty of. I have immediately. I know what I want to talk about first. But do we have any more offensive stuff we want to talk about?
So you go ahead. You jump into your stuff from offense. But just to put a little bow on this, my opinion is I'm lost, or my feelings are that I'm lost, and they just need to look at what they've done successfully and start implementing it more. We've seen Aaron Jones run the ball really well. Find ways to use him more, because McCarthy has been really stubborn, and people have said it in the chat. If I could find it. Somebody said in the chat, Mike McCarthy is really stubborn. He doesn't understand why they don't use Aaron Jones more. Like I said before, maybe McCarthy's a little right on him, but you got to figure out ways to get the ball in his hands because you can't stop him. So just to throw the question back out there for people in the chat, the question is how do you feel about the Green Bay Packers right now, at this point in the season, looking forward, and how do they fix the inconsistencies after the bye?
Play football. Just play football. If you're on offense for the Green Bay Packers, first of all, I want to talk about the offensive line because Byron Bell did a good job stepping in. Again, Byron Bell is your new right guard, and he's not bad. I like him out there. He's great. McCray was healthy. He was on the sidelines for this game. And even when Bell got hurt, Lucas Patrick was in. McCray wasn't. So I don't think the Packers think that highly of Justin McCray, even though a lot of us did. Then Bell had to move out to right tackle when Bulaga came out with the shoulder injury. Bulaga went back in. The offensive line for this Packers, let's never underappreciate them and everything that they do to keep things whole and keep things moving, because Aaron Jones still has to have running lanes. And they might not be the cleanest, but this offensive line's doing a good job. I think Corey Linsley's having a really good season at center. Yep. David Bakhtiari is all-world at left tackle. I will never not mention him and give him props. Left tackles and offensive linemen don't get any credit because they don't show up on the stat sheet. Lane Taylor, left guard, great job. Undrafted, gem, huge gem. Bulaga, we need him. So this line did a good job. Skill players, don't think so much. Just go out and play football. We took for granted in 2011, Jeremy, I'm going to list this off because I don't know if you recall this, but here's the thing. You want to know why those 2011 offenses were up 17-0, 21-0? You ready for this? Jordy Nelson, Greg Jennings, Donald Driver, Jermichael Finley, James Jones.
That's a beautiful list.
That can
make me cry.
Yes. Every single one of those guys were smart football players, and they just went out and they played smart. The rookies are thinking too much still.
Right.
Jimmy Graham, for whatever reason, does not understand what zone coverage looks like and how to sit down in the zone. Just turn around, take the easy 7 yards. It's real simple. You know who has stepped up a little bit over the last couple weeks? Very minor, but he's made some catches, is Kendricks. Lance
Kendricks, yeah.
Lance Kendricks has earned some of those snaps back, and it's McCarthy's is all about earning snaps and earning opportunities. Do you remember when Mercedes Lewis caught a long touchdown pass against the Packers in Week 1 for the Jaguars in Week 1 of 2016? And I was like, I used to do a preview. I don't remember what my second article that I wrote back then, but I would do a preview and I would tick everybody off because I would always list the 2 or 3 players that have no business beating the Packers or doing well that will, because I'm just negative that way, trolly. Yeah. And Mercedes Lewis, I was like, watch Mercedes Lewis. He's going to have a sneaky good game. And there he goes busting up the seam, catches a long pass for a touchdown. So when they signed him this offseason to the Packers, I was like, oh, my God, he's Keith Jackson. And then you got Jimmy Graham, who's Chimura.
Right.
No. Keith Jackson ran routes and could catch a ball and got deep. Mercedes Lewis I don't think he's going to touch the ball all season. But Lance Kendricks actually played okay. These guys just need to loosen up and just relax and play football and be confident. It's Aaron Rodgers. He's going to throw the ball. He had a really nice throw to Graham in coverage where he leads Graham perfectly away from the defenders, and because of where the ball was thrown, Graham is able to catch it while he's running, not break stride, and he picks up another 7 or 8 yards before they're able to tackle him. You got to have trust in your teammates. That's what I think is missing. Mini
Boy says Jimmy Graham is washed up. Hasn't been the same player since he left the Saints. Well, first of all, I don't know about washed up. He just had 104 yards or something like that. He had a hell of a game this week, so I'm not really sure what you're watching. He's also dealing with a knee injury, so his season has started a little bit slow. I'm assuming Mini Boy is a Vikings fan.
Not necessarily. No. I don't think washed is. I think what he's saying is that he's not the same player, and so he's using washed to describe that. And that's not what he means. He washed up is you can't play anymore. Jimmy Graham can still play.
Right.
He's made some really bonehead moves. He dropped that touchdown pass in Detroit. He hasn't been everything that we wanted him to be.
Right.
And it's really frustrating because this is the second year in a row that we've had, a free agent tight end coming out.
I got you.
Now, the turd that got flushed down the toilet last year is a totally different story.
Right. So let me put a little bit of positive spin on that. What we just saw from Jimmy Graham, Martellus Bennett was nowhere near having the game.
You said the name.
I did say it. The
Why
turd was nowhere near having the game that Jimmy Graham just had.
He who shall not be named.
You're right. Okay, I was wrong. Mini Boy is a Packers fan for Mini. I'm sorry. I guess, Jason lived in Minnesota for a time, and he's a big Packers fan. So to those of you who are Packers fans living in Minnesota, I am sorry for judging you based on your online names. Jimmy Graham had a good game. He had a good game this week. I think that's a good place to be. They still need to work on the relationship between Aaron Rodgers and Jimmy Graham. They need to make those key plays where it's Graham is wide open, but then he just kind of drifts out of the hole where there's an opening, and Rodgers throws to the opposite side where he thought he would be, or something like that. So it's just it's a relationship thing, and that's the thing you just talked about when you listed all of those guys. Which, by the way, Henry says that put a smile on his face listing all those guys from 2011. The thing that Aaron Rodgers had with those guys that he doesn't have right now is a relationship that they are on the field. The entire group knew what Rodgers was going to do. And if he broke the pocket, they all knew how to respond.
Bingo.
And right now there's one guy playing that knows how to respond when Rodgers breaks the pocket. It's Davante Adams, because Randall Cobb is the other guy and he's hurt. And that's the key. That's the important part of Randall Cobb, why you shouldn't cut that guy. That's why you can't get rid of that guy.
Yeah, you can.
Because when you break the pocket, he knows what to do.
No, you can't. They're not going to get rid of him this season, but after this season,
I totally agree, because right now Rodgers is building up a rapport and a relationship with his rookies, and that kind of thing is happening. But for this season, you need a guy like Randall Cobb on the team, because that 75-yard touchdown that he had where Rodgers broke the pocket and Cobb got open just a touch.
Sat down in the zone. That's what Jimmy Graham, sit down in the zone.
And Rodgers hit him, and boom, Cobb took off and scores a long touchdown. That is what Aaron Rodgers is missing from most of his receiver group right now. And they'll get there. Jimmy Graham will get there. They will build that relationship. It's coming. Martellus Bennett was never building that relationship with anybody at any time. He was so full of his own crap that he wasn't building a relationship with anybody. That guy, from the second he showed up in Green Bay, was just all about Martellus Bennett. just all about that, just himself, he's got one foot out the door in football at the time. He's talking about his business that he started. He's talking about imagination, whatever it's called. And he wasn't ever fully in it. He didn't have the right attitude. He showed up hurt. We all know he showed up to Green Bay hurt and lied about an injury. He's a piece of crap. Okay, Jimmy Graham's not
bagging,
that.
He's been bagging on Eli. You just wait, because he's going to give it to Rodgers, and he's going to wait till the end of the season when they lose.
When they miss the playoffs or something crappy.
And then he's going to put a tweet out there, and then he's just going to sit back and
watch it all come in.
Eat his Cheetos and watch it all come in and drink his cheap beer because he's a cheap ass. So I will say this, and I'll ask you this: Marquez Valdes-Scantling, at least of the three rookies, by the end of this season, probably sooner. I think it'll happen. These guys are going to get trial by fire over these next two games because they're at LA and then they're at New England. You watch. Regardless of the result of those two games, those rookie wide receivers are going to come out of those games light years wiser. Marquez Valdes-Scantling will get on that page. He will effectively take over the Cobb role, even though he's maybe more of an outside guy. But he will become that second guy that can do it, and then you'll have Cobb. This receiving
he's
core
not the second guy. He'd be the third because guess who else
Geronimo
there is?
Allison.
Geronimo Allison.
And
you
Ronnie
can't
Allison.
forget about Geronimo Allison. He was looking so good before he got hurt.
He's on the page with Rodgers,
yes,
right?
He's there. So I was wrong. There is another guy. He's also hurt. Geronimo Allison, I think, is there, and I think Aaron Rodgers, he loves Geronimo.
They practice. They're going to play against the Rams because they both practice, and I think it was a business decision to hold those guys out, as well as Jair Alexander, who would have probably been very helpful against Marquise Goodwin. Marquise Goodwin, I don't know if the Packers just didn't realize he was on the roster. He took that entire – the number 11 used to be lucky in my life. I will never, ever, ever pull up to the number 11 pump to put gas in my car again after that Monday night game against the 49ers. I don't ever want to see your face again.
Gosh.
Actually, it wasn't his face. It was the back of his jersey because that's all I saw running down the field with the ball away from defenders.
It was terrible. The Bull DeVoe says Kumaro is coming back.
Okay. So moving on to the defensive side of the ball.
That's not happening. They don't have a need for that. The group is playing really well right now, even without two of their key guys. Jake Kumaro is not going to be on this roster this year unless somebody gets hurt. Unless they have some key injury, unless they lose somebody. Knock on wood. Okay, we can't have that happen. But unless something bad happens, it's just not going to happen. Right now, those guys are playing really well. So I love where this team is at as far as wide receiver goes, and I feel like the next few years they're going to be a sick group of receivers.
They're going to be good.
So let me read this. Actually, I read this to you before. Well, dang it, now I got to find it because I Twittered around and now I lost where it was. Ben Fennell said, put out some stats on Davante Adams, and they were pretty darn good, red zone stats. So this wide receiver group, I'm pretty happy with it, and I think that I think Rodgers' biggest issue with them is that they're just not quite on the same page yet. They are going to get there. Get the bye I think the bye came at a great time. They had a couple good games. They can come back to it now, hit it with a fresh mind, and come back knowing that, hey, we know how to play together.
The Bears came off their bye and they got beat by the Dolphins. Does it get any sweeter?
Not just the Dolphins. They got beat by Brock Osweiler.
Oh man, I sat in the stands for a couple of Osweiler ASU games, one of which was against U of A and they lost. So if you went to U of A, congrats, and screw you. Also, terrible choice. I can attest that is not an NFL quarterback. That was an ugly loss for the Bears.
I just can't believe it. Okay, so I found it. This is from Ben Fennell. Since 2016, red zone leaders. Targets, Davante Adams with 60. Michael Thomas with 50. Receptions, Davante Adams with 37. Jordy Nelson with 34. Touchdowns, Davante Adams with 22, Nelson 20, Thomas 17. Davante Adams is a stud in the red zone.
Those Nelson stats all came from Rodgers when he was with the Packers.
Yes, totally. But they were, yes. But point being, seeing what we're seeing from these rookies right now, and then Davante Adams being who he is, Davante Adams is a stud. I think he's a top 5 receiver in the NFL. And we had an argument with some Vikings fans about this, but I genuinely do believe this about him. He's so consistent and he's so good, and his footwork is it's like some kind of like magic like that guy. His route running is perfect. He can make anybody miss. He's beautiful. He's a great receiver. and then add to that these rookies that are learning how to play. In the next 2 years, that group is going to look fantastic. They really are. I think unless something goes horribly wrong, knock on wood again, that's going to be great. That's going to be a great group.
All right, we gotta get to the defensive side of the ball. So the first place I want to start on the defensive side of the ball is we have got outside linebackers who are getting paid way too much to do very little. Now, Nick Perry didn't have a sack, but he knocked a couple passes down. Mm-hmm. Clay had the sack in this game, but the outside backers are just not from a pressure standpoint. Now, Fackrell made a couple of tackles in space that were very helpful. He actually showed some speed. Like, maybe it was me being there live. He's not that worthless as long as he doesn't get pushed out of the play. I'll never forget that Washington game where he was eliminated from the screen. Like, literally, like someone picked him up and threw him away like a piece of trash. He's got that speed. Reggie Gilbert can't defend the run. He was so bad. He got taken out of so many run plays. It was ugly. But Clay and Perry, those guys can't. They're not dynamic enough to get it done. I don't know what the deal is. They can't. They need a pass rush specialist. They need somebody, and they're not going to just find it from anywhere. If they don't go out and get somebody, which what are you going to? You're going to have to make a trade, and I don't think they would do that.
Right.
This next draft, the right tackle and the outside linebacker, a pure pass rusher, are going to be huge.
The Bull DeVoe asked Gurley, 175 yards, over or under?
Total yards or just rushing?
Let's say total yards.
Under. But I mean, I say under, but he could come in at 150 and 160, and it won't surprise me.
Still really bad. Still really bad for the Packers. Rodney Pryor said I'd go after Shane Ray. I just don't know. No. You know, I just don't.
Nope.
I don't know that the answer to the outside linebacker issue is fixed this year. Like, I don't know if that exists this year. That's not a thing that I think they can do right now. They need to go back and figure it out and be ready for this offseason. And somebody asked in the chat, do we think Joey Bosa is going to, or not Joey Bosa, Nick Bosa is going to be worth a first round pick with the injury?
Yes. He'll still get drafted.
Yeah, I think so. I think he still gets drafted. And the nice thing for the Packers is he's probably gonna fall deep in the draft, and they can use one of those two picks to get him. I mean, with the injury that he's got going on, I think there's a chance the Packers get a shot at him later in the draft. And that
the only thing I'd want is we're getting way ahead of ourselves here, but I'd only want him if that injury that's keeping him out till November, if it comes out that he might have maybe made a business decision to come back in November to save himself.
Mini Boy says Nick Bosa might be the number one pick. Don't sell yourself on that right now, because it's still early in the NFL, in the college season.
We're way too far ahead.
When the NFL draft comes along, you see guys' names like that you think they're going to be the guy or they're going to be up there, and they fall way down.
Miles Jack.
Yep. Just give it some time. That's. You can assume that right now, but you don't know who's really going to stand out by the end of the season that takes that spot. So obviously problems in the passing game and not defending the pass very well. Kentrell Bryce he has lost me. I'm off the train. Oh yeah,
he's lost
hell
me.
Yeah.
There was a question in the chat.
I'm off the safety train altogether. Both of them.
Well, there was a question in the chat earlier about is Jermaine Whitehead going to take the snaps or the reps?
God, I hope not.
Whitehead's not any better.
That's not the answer.
He's not any better.
You know what the answer was? I shouldn't even say it. It's because it's not there anymore, so it doesn't matter.
Elor Thomas from the Seattle Seahawks.
There was Kenny Vaccaro sat for a long time. That group of safeties, Trey Boston sat out there for a long time this offseason. I mean, there was a large group of safeties that sat in free agency that the Packers could have taken a run at and didn't even think about it.
We'll never know if there were any conversations with Eric Reed, so I have a hard time just saying flat out that was a big mistake.
I don't think so. I don't think there was a conversation, because I think the only owner in the league that had the guts to do it was the Panthers owner, because he's new to the league, and I don't think that he thinks the same way that the other guys do. I just think the other guys in the league that have been there, including Mark Murphy, not being an owner but being a team president, they all have a similar mindset. They all have been working together for a long time. New guy shows up and goes out and signs Eric Reed because he's a good football player. And guess what? Eric Reed's still kneeling on the sidelines. So other owners in the league, are bothered by that. Jerry Jones would be pissed off if that happened. So I genuinely think that would not have happened had it not been for the Panthers having a new owner. I don't think Eric Reid would have been signed.
Right?
He's been kneeling.
He has?
Yes, he's been kneeling.
So that could be, and that's getting into a whole nother discussion there. Obviously, the safety group is rough. Clinton Dix was marginal in this game. He needs a running mate. They don't have one for him right now. So outside linebacker and safety are a big need. They're high on the radar and big on the list of reasons why the Packers defense has struggled.
Henry J says move Tramon Williams to safety, problem solved.
No,
it's just not that simple.
No, it's really not. And Tramon is a backup at this point. He's starting out of necessity because some of the rookies aren't ready. But
right,
Josh Jackson
hurt.
Josh Jackson is he's a pretty instinctual player. He came up and set the edge on a run play, and he can do it. He's willing to get his hands dirty and get his put his head in there. I think as soon as they feel comfortable, because they did move into the starting safety role midway through 2014, his rookie season, and he never gave the role back. Mm-hmm. And I think as soon as Jackson shows he can do it,
right,
you got to go with King, Jackson, and Jair. Roll with the young guys, and that's that. Kevin King played a full game, didn't come out, didn't get hurt, got his first interception. It was a hell of a play. Let's talk about that.
Well, it was a hell of a play. Right place, right time. And it was one of those things where you saw the ball going downfield and you're like, turn your head. Please turn your head. Oh, God, turn around. Oh, God, here it comes. And he did it just at the right time.
So it was going away from me, and I'm up in that upper section, so I'm above the ball. So I have no idea, if this pass is on target, what's happening, who's catching it. I was sure it was going to fall in the 49ers receiver's hands, and that's because that's what I was watching all game long, blah, blah, blah.
Right. Yeah, it was a beautiful play. I want to address this. Bull DeVoe in the chat says Trey Boston leads the league in interceptions right now, or he thinks he does. That was an assumption, so I looked it up. He is in the group of players leading the league with 3 interceptions, but guess who else is in that group? Clinton Dix. Yeah, Ha's in that group too. But that does not mean that Ha is having a good season. So I guess that's just not a good measure to go on at this point. It's so early in the season. Let's see where they end up at the end of the year. But honestly, Trey Boston next to Ha would have been a nice upgrade over Kentrell Bryce. So moving back to your thing you were talking about, Kevin King and that interception, it was great. It was a fantastic play, great awareness. He was, he's going down the field and he's kind of watching the receiver. And when the receiver looked back for the ball, it popped in his head like, okay, I need to turn and look back for the ball. And boom, it was right in his gut bucket. Like,
great catch.
That was his ball. That was his ball from the beginning by position. He didn't let the receiver get inside. He fought to stay inside. And boom, he's in the right spot for that ball.
Great catch.
Great catch.
Made a great catch, great play. Finally got his first interception in the NFL. He's hopefully can stay healthy because I think when he's on and he's playing well, he's good. We don't have the sample size to know whether or not he can be effective. He is. Obviously, he's stepped up and made a big play there. There was some talk about Blake Martinez and some debate about whether he had a good game or not. I thought he played okay. Clay Matthews, that whiff on that open field tackle.
What an embarrassment.
What
a freaking embarrassment.
That is why I'm saying, everyone's like, put him in the middle. Like, Clay Matthews he basically is a third down pass rush specialist at this point in his career. And he's playing 3 downs.
Because they have to have him. Okay, so a couple things. You talked a little bit about the corners, and I've been so busy trying to read the chat that I have not responded to you. The cornerback group, Tramon Williams could move to safety maybe in the offseason at the age that he's at. It's not a thing they're going to do right now. Maybe they start – actually, you know what? We could be wrong. He played safety in Mike Pettine's defense with the Browns. He played some safety, so he knows the position in this defense. Maybe it's something that happens when the rest of the group gets healthy because they got Bashaud Breeland sitting there. He's a depth guy. Jair Alexander's been hurt. So when the rookies are totally ready to take over some of those roles and Kevin King can be the number one guy and stay healthy and Bashaud Breeland's ready to be that depth, maybe then you start playing with Tramon Williams at safety because he did it before. He should know the position in this in this defense. Tyler says that Woodson would be a better safety right now. I'm going to agree with you just because I love Charles Woodson so much. It's probably not true, but I agree. You're right. Bring back Charles Woodson. Let him play safety.
I thought he was going to bust out from his ESPN booth
he's
and
just gonna fly on
Superman with his uniform.
Yeah, he's going to take over. So the safety position needs correcting, but they can't correct it. So they can't do anything about it right now. Too many injuries to move Tramon. Too many injuries to really play with the guys they have on the roster and figure out who can play it. And I don't think there's really anybody of insane value right now. I think somebody said TJ Ward, and I don't know if he's actually available or not.
No.
I'd have to look it up.
No, thanks.
So back to the outside linebacker group. We've talked about this a few times. In this defense, the outside linebackers are not the star of the pass rush. It's a scheme that creates pass rush, right? But you still need your outside linebackers to create some pass rush. Like, it doesn't mean they don't have to. It just means that they don't have to be the star of the show. They still got to show up and do it, right? So Clay's been inconsistent. It's sad when your most consistent outside linebacker is
Kyler Fackrell.
Kyler freaking Fackrell. Kyler Fackrell is the most consistent. Jason's taking his headphones off because I'm ripping his ear holes out. Kyler Fackrell is the most consistent outside linebacker on this football team. Somebody punch me in the face. I never thought this day would arrive. Jason just punched me in the face.
All right. So, yeah, it's very frustrating and obviously very telling. That's a problem. It's definitely a problem. But this defense, they've got some tough tests coming up. So maybe we transition here and we say, okay, now they're going into the bye week. Mm-hmm. They're going to get a chance to get healthy. They're going to get 2 receivers back off of the bye. Fortunately, they don't have a laundry list of guys that are hurt. So everybody should come back fresh and ready to go. But it's the LA Rams. Mm-hmm. This is going to be and for those of you listening, we're not going to have a show next week because of scheduling. So we're going to kind of preview the Rams game right now. This is going to be a rough one because I don't see a way in which the Packers can win this game, even if they play perfectly, unless the Rams give it away. So I don't think that's going to happen. And then the week after that, they go to New England.
Rodney, I do want to get to your Ty Montgomery question. I'm going to do that. So, but anyways, continue on. The Rams.
So I'm going to put you on the spot. You have to bet your house on one of the two. The Packers beating the Rams, or the Packers beating the Patriots.
I'm not betting anything.
No, you have to bet your house on one.
Patriots.
Patriots. Okay.
Actually, no. The Rams. They got 2 weeks to prepare. If they're going to beat either of those two teams, and I know the Rams are as good as they are, they lead the league in overall offense.
Do you think it's honestly possible even with 2 weeks to prepare? I don't.
I do because we've seen the Packers come out and do amazing things out of the bye. We've seen Mike McCarthy. Somehow Mike McCarthy becomes an amazing – okay. I don't want to say that because it's not that he's not an amazing coach. He's been an amazing coach. Mike McCarthy's a good coach in the NFL. He's great. Things aren't going well right now, and like I said last week, I do think it's time to move on from Mike McCarthy. I still believe that, but something happens with Mike McCarthy when he has to go up against something that is like nobody thinks he can do it. Something magical does happen when he goes up against Bill Belichick with Matt Flynn at quarterback, and yeah, they didn't win that game, but they were in it with Matt freaking Flynn.
Can I tell you a quick story? I was playing fantasy football. It was the last time I played fantasy football. And I had the Patriots defense. I had to choose. I had the Patriots defense that week, and I was in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. And I was playing the 1 seed, and I was the lowest seed, and I was getting beat. And what happened at the end of that game? Matt Flynn gets sacked. He fumbles, and the Patriots recover the ball with 0 seconds left on the clock. And those 3 things
saved you.
Gave me a win. I got a playoff fantasy football win from that because my team lost.
At least somebody.
And the best part was I didn't even realize until the next day, and I went into work, and I went up to the guy, and he was like talking all smack all week long, and I'm like, whatever, man, you're going to get beat anyway. And, he kind of looked at me like, why are you taking a jab at me? And I looked, and I'm like, oh, my God, I won. Like, I had no idea. That was the only
FMCH asks or says this season is a culmination of years of Ted Thompson's refusal to use free agency and bad drafts.
Well, they also are succeeding because of this past year's draft, but yeah, Ted Thompson he definitely left the cupboard bare in certain areas.
Well, it's not just this year; it's the last. It's
several.
The previous 2. So
15.
We're in
Randall's
the 3rd
gone.
year.
Rollins is gone.
Right, we're in the 3rd year of real struggle because Ted Thompson did not do enough to fill this roster with more talent, and he tried his last year as GM. All those free agent signings that happened in the offseason, I think that was Ted Thompson's last ditch effort to figure shit out. And it did not work out very well. It was not good. So, unfortunately, just like Mike McCarthy, I love Ted Thompson. I think he's a great GM. He was a fantastic GM. I appreciate his time in Green Bay. It did not end well. And they are paying the price right now. I totally agree with that. They're paying the price right now. Rodney asked, why don't they use Ty Montgomery on punt returns? I don't know, man. I don't know. Somebody tell me. I want to know, too. I don't want Tremont out there. Right now, you need Tremont. Your cornerback group is banged up, and you're still putting him out there. You got 3 running backs that you don't even know who the hell to use, and instead of using them in places where you could, you got Tremont Williams, who's like 9,000 years old, out there hoping he doesn't break his brittle bones trying to make punt returns. And he's a good punt returner. He's smart and he's dependable, and that's something that you really, really want. Somebody who will just be smart. After watching Trevor Davis last year, he doesn't have to make any big plays. Just be smart. That's all I want, right? I'm happy with you just being smart. Tremont can be that. Tom Montgomery, I think, can break some big plays. I think he's got the ability to make some big returns.
Yeah, he's smart. He's not afraid of this to seize the moment.
Right. He's just had a few times where they put him in that role and he's muffed punts.
Right.
And he's muffed kicks and that kind of thing has happened. So I don't know that they're ready to trust anybody. They're going with what's safe. They feel like Tremont is safe. Let's just be safe. We're being safe. But I don't like it. I don't like it. I'm not a fan.
Right.
So
okay, so you got a tough matchup against the Rams, and you got the Patriots, and then a tough road schedule. I say if you want anything magical still to come of this season,
yep,
you have to win at least one of those 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
Have to.
Agreed.
Have to. It's not mathematical. It wasn't mathematical against the Niners. It's emotional. It's chemistry. It's locker room. It's confidence.
Right.
Got to do it. And we've seen at times the Packers overachieve and surprise us for 56 minutes of an NFC Championship game in Seattle, right? It's not impossible.
Right.
Jared Goff is not that good. The Rams have a good offensive.
He is surrounded by a lot of.
They've
good
got
players.
a good offensive game plan. They have a good offensive-minded coach, and their defense happens to have some really good pieces to it. But here's the deal: Talib's going to be out. Marcus Peters, if he's back, is still going to not be totally
100%.
fresh. I mean. And I don't know who the Rams have the week after, but hopefully it's a really tough matchup and they're looking past us. That would probably be another way the Packers could possibly win that game. I don't like the chances. There's just too many weapons. Cooper Kupp and
I don't love the chances either. I agree with you though. They have to figure out how to win one of those 2 games.
And then don't forget, then you got at Minnesota coming up shortly after that.
They play the Rams the week after, or the Rams. The Rams play the Rams. They play the Saints the week after. Big game. That's a big game.
On the road or at home?
Google does not give me that information. Wait,
okay.
They are on the road. They're on the road against the Saints the week after. Maybe they look ahead a little. And look, I do think the Packers can win one of those 2 games. I think the talent is there. We all know the talent is on this team. That's why we're all frustrated.
I feel like the Patriots game is going to be what I just described, where before we went on the air, where the Packers are going to be ahead for 3.5 quarters.
Don't.
And then
they're going to crush their souls.
Yeah.
Our souls. We're all going to be it. No, let's not. We need a Tariq Cohen type of guy. Spicy
Every
shots.
team
that
needs a
sounds
Tariq
great.
Cohen.
That sounds great.
I mean,
I want that. They might have that. Aaron Jones is, he's. I mean, I don't know how they compare as players, but Tariq Cohen can catch the ball out of the backfield, and I think Aaron Jones can too. Other than that drop that he had this week. Back to Jared Goff real quick. We both said he's not that good. He's. I don't want to discredit him too much. He is good. He's also got a lot of help around him on that offense. Jared Goff, he's not the straw that stirs that drink. That's all. Okay, Jared Goff is not the straw that stirs the drink on that offense. It's Todd Gurley. It's Gurley. So, what do you need to do to beat the Rams?
You got to shut down Todd Gurley.
You have to shut down Todd Gurley.
Shut down the run, but the problem is there's no pass rush. There's no pass rush to make the pass not work either.
Right. So it's like, okay, we'll shut one down. They'll light us up. Robert Woods will have a big game anyways.
Pick your poison.
Right.
And that's why they're a really good team. That's why they're undefeated.
Well, the good news is that their defense hasn't been as good as they've hoped. And it's a game where, like, the Packers are going to need to score like 50 points. They're going to need to score like 45, 50 points.
Still, Aaron Donald and Ndamukong Suh is back.
I know.
Ndamukong Suh is back. Who's he going to step on? Over under. It's not over under, but who's he going to step on?
Well, Evan Dietrich Smith isn't on the team, so who's going to piss him off the most is the question. I don't know who's the grittiest, nastiest guy on that offensive line. Brian Bulaga.
Grittiest, nastiest. it's Bakhtiari, and then
He's
Corey
not-
Lindsey.
okay,
Corey
well,
Lindsey would be
you know
a
what?
second.
That's fair. Bakhtiari's got such beautiful hair. I just don't.
You
I don't see him as a tough
David
guy.
Bakhtiari.
You're right. No, you're right. Have you seen him come?
By
off?
the way, my Mac laptop's at 69%, so that's an homage to David Bakhtiari. It's at
All right,
69.
there you go. There you go. Have you seen Bakhtiari coming off the edge, killing corners on the edges? Like the guy, you're right.
That's
the
what I was
guy's
talking
nasty.
about.
I'm totally wrong. I'm
that's-
wrong. It's not Brian, but Brian Bulaga is actually like
I
a
can't
real.
believe you said
I
that.
don't even
Out of
know,
all
man.
the
I was
options-
trying.
I mean, Byron Bell would be but Bulag is like one of the last ones you should have thought of.
That's
Like,
fair. Well, actually, Corey Lindsey, I think
he's
is
the
last.
Jamal
Well, maybe
Williams of the rotation of. Ooh, that was it's too
No,
soon. Too soon.
I don't know.
Too soon.
I don't. Okay. I hate Donkey Kong Sue. Well, in Donkey Kong Sue. That's from Tyler. He doesn't like Ndamukong Suh. None of us like Ndamukong Suh. I don't think even Ndamukong Suh likes Ndamukong Suh. He hates himself. Nobody likes that guy. Even his own teammates. They
All
hate
right,
him.
so before we get out of here, because we're getting down to the wire here, any last questions? Shoot them into the chat real quick. Mike McCarthy and what he needs to do is it up to McCarthy to get this team up and prepared, or is he doing the right thing by leaning on the veterans, and does he stick with that, mantra of I lead quietly, my veterans do the talking, I'll say what I need to when it's necessary, but coming out of the bye, how much pressure is he facing right now?
I think he's facing a lot. He's going into the toughest stretch of the season, coming off of a win where they should have kicked somebody's ass. Like, that game on Monday should not have been close at all. I said in the pregame show I wouldn't have been happy if they didn't win by 3 scores. They won by 3 freaking points. Like, just the opposite of what it should have been. It should have been an absolute just nasty ass kicking given to the 49ers. And instead, it's a close game. They win by 3. It was a disgusting experience for everybody. And now they have to play the Rams. They have to play the Patriots. They're going into a really tough stretch. There's got to be a lot of pressure. He has to know he's got to win one of these next two games. He's got to know.
Yeah, he does.
Over under 70 points for both teams combined. 70 points combined.
Oh, either week. Either week, I'd
Either
take
week.
that. Look what happened with the Chiefs and the Patriots.
Over? You go over on that?
It was,
Entirely possible.
Well, they put up 63 with the San Francisco 49ers.
was
The
from
Niners
Owen,
are
by
supposed
the
to be
way.
garbage. So
That was from Owen. I don't want to.
a good offense and Aaron Rodgers playing well. Sure, not a problem.
Sure.
It's 35 apiece. It's probably gonna be if the
this
Packers.
week,
Well, if
33 points is the most they've scored. This week is the most points the offense has
Well,
scored.
I'll tell you what. If you want to beat the Rams and you want to beat the Patriots, you better hope that there's over 70 points total, because the Packers are probably going to have to score close to 40 to win either of those two games.
Do they let Rodgers call plays? That's
Yes.
from the Bull DeVoe.
He does. He calls plays and audibles at the line all the time, and I think he's very involved in running the offense, and I don't know whether that's part of this riff between he and McCarthy wants Rodgers to fall in line more, or if Rodgers is just bored or whatever it be. But I think you can let him do that. He's earned that right, and he's succeeded enough that if he is calling the plays, he's not doing that badly.
Kumquat Savage. Great name. My favorite name in the chat tonight. Our defensive backs can't keep up with their wide receivers. I don't know if that's true, man.
Could possibly be true.
I don't know if that's true.
mean,
not if Jair's healthy. You're talking about if we're talking pure speed and guys that can keep up with that. Yeah, Tremont can't. I'm not depending on Tremont to keep up with any burners. I think Jackson can if he gets physical. I think he's a big corner who can jam at the line, and that's the thing that maybe he can depend on with speedy guys. And then he's smart. He's very smart, and I think he plays a lot faster than his 40 time. So some of these young corners, yes, I think they can compete with some speed. Do you think Breeland will finally debut? Yes. I think we will finally see Bashaud Breeland. I think, he's dealing with his injury, but I think they've been kind of like waiting on the bye and knowing like he'll probably come back after but the bye came at a great time. They had a couple guys injured that are key to this team that they didn't need to win against the 49ers that they could let sit. So Breeland's one of those. I think they can totally play with that offense. The thing that we can't depend on is pass rush. It doesn't exist. Where's the pass rush? Where's the beef?
Right. Yeah, they can't get a push up front. They didn't address the position this year. They couldn't. They had to pick their poison. They added a lot of, shouldn't say pick their poison, but they added a lot of corners. They weren't able to do it all. Okay, fine. So they're going to have to get after that next year. That's probably going to be what their Achilles heel is this year, and that will keep them from getting into a Super Bowl. You got to be able to put pressure on a quarterback. It's as simple as that. Now that they're actually allowing Packers to tackle quarterbacks, that's the other piece of it.
They should have one more win right now. We all know that. The NFL knows that. Every fan of every team in the NFL knows that.
So go beat them. So go beat them in their own building and make it a non-factor and win this division.
Sure. Rodney Pryor.
The Bears suck and they're not going to do it.
Rodney Pryor brings up a big name and an interesting and important name in this football game. Sam Shields will try to show the Packers that he can still play.
No, he'll be too busy accepting packages with a spliff in his hand at the door.
Okay, well, no. That is not nice.
It's not, but unfortunately that's what happened. It's true. So
I don't know, man, because no matter what you do on this offense, there are some guys that can really burn. Like Davante Adams runs fantastic routes and he's great at getting open. And I think the best part of the 49ers game was Davante Adams playing in the slot and Richard Sherman goes into the slot like, I'm going to take care of this. And then he gets called for that late penalty, right? And then what happens the next play? He's back outside on Marquez Valdez-Scantling because he knows he can't hang with Davante Adams. There are some really good wide receivers on this team.
Jamal Williams put Richard Sherman on his butt, too, with a stiff arm. It's like, Sherman, we love you. You were fantastic for a time with the Legion of Boom, but it's over, bro.
Yeah.
All right, we got to get up out of here. So we can't make predictions. It's too soon. I think we don't know who's playing and all the actives and all that kind of stuff. So we won't have a show next week, but we'll be back the week after to break down the Rams game and preview the Patriots game.
We do have the pregame show. So we'll do the pregame show at the bar, and that will be live on Cheesehead TV's YouTube page. So you can join us for that. You'll get predictions, and we'll break down that Rams game more. And we'll know injuries. We'll know everything that's going on going into that game. So make sure you join us for that.
Right. So it's been real. It's been fun. Jeremy, thanks for losing your cookies at least once. The fans come here for that. I do too. My right ear thanks you. My left ear does not.
I don't even know when it's going to happen. It's just
that's the best part.
Something happens and all of a sudden I'm pissed.
Today it was Kyler Fackrell. So may Kyler Fackrell have the best bye week of all. All right, everybody. Ticket King, get your tickets if you want to go to see the Packers play at Lambeau Field. This past week ended up being a huge bargain, a great value. Check them out. They're not the big guys, and there's a reason for it. Their service is second to none. They've got a location right next to the stadium in Green Bay. Go pick up your tickets. Go see the Packers play. Get loud. Do not cheer on offense like the Brewers fans did when the Brewers won, which congratulations to them on that night. Unfortunately, the last couple games have not gone well. Today's Wednesday. I'll say no more. Go Brew Crew the rest of the way.
Yep.
This is
just
Jason.
One more mention. I can't forget because we forgot to say it earlier in the show. Thanks to Thomas DeCaro for filling in for Jason and the pregame show. And thank you for the delicious beer from Odell Brewing. It's great that we have this free beer to suck down when we talk about Packers. Thank you so much, Thomas. We appreciate it.
So you can follow me on Twitter at Jason Perrone. You can follow Jeremy at Jeremy RVDL. You can follow the show at CHTV Live. Thank you so much, as always, for tuning in. And for those of you in the chat, much love. This has been Cheesehead TV Live.
Thank you for listening to Cheesehead TV Live. Check out cheeseheadtv.com for more great Packers content.